everybody else. So you're going to present your arguments. I'm going to be pretty much the other side of the house, just so we can be prepared. I spent last night trying to think of whatever arguments people are going to try to use against you. So I want you to be prepared for those. And truthfully, if you're saying your arguments and they run out of counter arguments, then at that point you pretty much know that their mind is made up. You get what I'm saying? Like, because every argument that you make is going to be logical and it's going to be valid. It's a question of whether or not they choose to hear it. You get what I'm saying? Like, if they don't want to hear it, then truthfully you're pretty much like your fate is already sealed, and that's on them. But I want to try to give whatever counter arguments. So everything that you argue, I'm going to try to see if I can find an argument against it, just so you can be prepared for that if someone tries to throw something at you in a meeting. Because if you go through each of these meetings, and for every single counter argument you have something to respond to that benefits you and them, then literally if they choose to not keep you, it's not because your arguments didn't make sense or because you didn't argue. Simply because they already made up their mind as soon as they saw your ass up on the block, they were voting you out.
Right.
And we kind of know that this week was what it was.
Right.
Like, it was like, okay, so pretty much Christian should have just enjoyed his last days because you all made up your mind as soon as his ass sat on the block. So that's what we're going to do. And Liz can help you with your arguments while I'm kind of speaking as the other side.
Okay. That's fair.
As soon as she gets in here.
I know the main argument, really the only argument people are going to use is the wins, the comp wins.
Last night I was trying to think of every possible argument they could use against you in this house. So I'm going to throw anything and everything that I can at you, just so you can be prepared for it if people use it. I'd rather throw, even if it doesn't even make that much sense, I'd rather throw everything your way so you're prepared for it when you're meeting with other people.
Yeah.
Because again, listen, I can't be in these meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do these meetings on your own, but I think you'll be fine on your own.
Right.
I think you're capable of making the arguments. The question is, have people already made up their mind and they're just feeding you bullshit? Or are people still open to hearing what you have to say?
Being persuaded.
Yeah.
Well,
because like I told you guys last night, I don't think we're going to get the honest truth from anybody in this house. Because we haven't. That's been evident this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, if Brittany hadn't won the power of veto, I don't think we'd even be in this situation. But ever since Brittany won the power of veto, I don't think anyone has been honest with us. And I don't think that's going to change now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Truthfully, I don't think anyone's going to be completely honest with us until right before live eviction. So, plead your case, do what you can, and if I think people have an idea of what they want to do right now, they just don't want to tell us. Why? I don't really know. Or why?
Well, if that's the case, then that means I'm going.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is do people already have their mind made up and they just aren't telling us, or are they really still on the fence about it?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you said all these arguments, again, what argument does Esme have? Her argument, she has basically 3 arguments. It's just a matter of how powerful or how much people are weighing those arguments that she's making versus the, just multitude of arguments that you have.
Yeah.
Did Liz say she was coming back up here?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait for her.
So, I already pitched why people should keep me to the people that I needed to. So I think...
So I'll take the position of so we're going to go through the people that... Actually, we'll go through everybody. And I'll be that person and give why I think their arguments would be against keeping you. Okay. So I'll be like Oz, I'll be Brittany, I'll be Big D, all those things. I'll be every person, and I'll kind of do what I can to think of their arguments for why they wouldn't want to keep you. So you're prepared for it.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to pitch for myself again because I already did that.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm planning on doing today is instead of pitching why you should keep me, the rest of everyone who I've already pitched to why they should keep me, I'm gonna pitch
Why they shouldn't keep
you
Sarah.
couldn't keep. Yeah, why you shouldn't keep her.
Mm-hmm. Alright, well then generally I'll just try to fight against that. And see what arguments people might have against Sarah Beth. So what do you... Actually, I don't want to know what you're going to say. I don't want to be caught off guard, because none of them should really know.
Right.
But if you're saying things that make sense, and they all know it makes sense, but they still are thinking about voting you out, I think that from the veto ceremony, people already had their mind made up, and they've just been feeding us bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So, at that point, which again is, for me, it's just kind of like, if literally the main thing is going to be your competition wins, then the other thing that people are probably going to use is you and Liz. Outside of those two things, though, what really do y'all have? Like, he's not a dick to anybody in the house. He's kind to everybody in the house. Physical competition, yes, he has won those, but let's look at two of the... I was like, he helped out with the team competition, but we lost the first week.
Mm-hmm.
After that, he won the wild card competition, but he won...
Well, I would have to bring up the first week because we were
I'm just going through things generally. Like, if they're talking about... Everyone wants to go to your competition wins. The wild card competition, you went up against Hannah and Kylan.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah hasn't won a single thing. Kylan won one thing, and that was Pool Shark, which was kind of a crapshoot type of competition.
Right.
Other than that, Kylan has lost everything. He was the third person out in the last veto competition.
The odds were just in my favor.
The odds were in your favor to win that competition.
Also, if I didn't win that competition, I would have been home with one. So I had to
if he didn't win that competition, you would have gone home. You were in the same position that Brittany was in this last veto competition, and Brittany won. You won when you needed to.
Yeah.
But that doesn't guarantee. Actually, don't say that.
Because that shows I can pull it off.
Yeah, that shows that you can pull it off again. Just more so focus on the fact that, like, hey,
odds were in my favor.
Odds were in my favor because of who I was competing against.
Right.
Kylan's only won one competition, and that was like a lucky pull shot. And Hannah hasn't won a single competition this week.
Right.
That competition benefited me. And truly, Hannah had a faster, she had less of a noise time than me.
Yeah.
So Hannah almost could have beat me if she was as fast as I was, but she isn't. And then bump set veto, yeah, I won that. But I just happened to win that. Like, I found a rhythm, I stayed with it, I won that. That happens.
And it was close.
Yeah, and it was close. Derek X was only 4 behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what was it, Room Key Rumble? I won that competition, but I only had to go against 2 people. It wasn't like I had to go through a lot of people and look at the people I went against. Derek F, what the fuck is he about to win?
Mm-hmm.
And I beat X, who's only won one competition, and the one competition that he won wasn't a physical competition.
Right.
And I barely beat him at that. And then, what was it? We did bump set veto.
And
then when we go through and then the last one competition that I won was a team competition where Sarah Beth literally finished the puzzle, but she didn't have time to go back and press the button.
Right.
So on week 4, I wouldn't have won that puzzle if Sarah Beth had probably 3 more seconds.
Mm-hmm.
She would have finished that puzzle. She would have pressed the button, and truthfully, I would not. I would still be here, but I can guarantee you, Whitney probably wouldn't have gone home last week.
Right. Hannah would have gone.
Hannah more than likely would have gone home. So there's those arguments. I'm trying to think. Oh, the competition that you haven't won. So let's look at the HOHs that you haven't won. I know BB Tom Talks, which is a memory competition. What round were you out in that?
First round I was out.
Out in the first round of a mental comp.
And what round was Derek X out?
Derek X made it to the finals. He made it.
That's what I said. He made it to
It was Derek X, round. Hannah, Sarah Beth, Alyssa, and me.
And we know he threw that comp.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who else knows it, but is that even worth saying?
Potentially. And we also know that Derek X...
Then they would say, why would you throw it? Oh, so that we could get out Brent.
Mm-hmm. He threw it so that we could get out Brent, which shows his loyalties aren't where they should be because he literally threw his teammate out. 2 of his teammates were gone in back-to-back weeks.
Right.
And both times, did anyone look at him and see like he was stressed? I don't know. he turns his back on people the first chance he gets when he feels like he has the majority support.
Mm-hmm.
So that means if you're on the wrong side of the majority, he won't hesitate to take you out. Having someone like that in this game is extremely dangerous, and he needs to go.
Right.
And if you guys can't beat him in the competition, why would you take out one of the only people who's capable of beating him in a physical competition?
Not as the only been extremely close to beating myself in a physical competition, but he's extremely close to beating others in a memory competition.
Mm-hmm. The only memory competition that he's lost was BB Tom Dawson. That's because he threw it so that way he could get his own teammate out.
Yeah, and the oh shit, what was I gonna say? And what was it? He did the competition. Damn, I don't remember now. Fuck. I don't remember now.
What did it?
It was something about how he performs.
In competitions, he's performed extremely well. Even in the competition of the last veto competition,
he won a walkout.
He won a walkout. He won 2 vetoes. Yeah. The first veto was Massive Cocktail.
I remember what I was gonna say. When I was HOH, I said what I was gonna do. I did it, and no one was worried because I did what I said I was gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
He not only has the ability to put himself in the position of HOH, but allows himself to be easily persuaded by others and doesn't follow his word. He flips on the house.
He has truly flipped on his word in countless scenarios.
And the fact that he's unpredictable should be much more terrifying than someone who says what they're going to do, hasn't changed that, is loyal to the right people, and is fighting for you instead of taking the opportunities to turn on the house when they get a chance. But these are all arguments against Derek X.
Yeah. Now let's go to Sarah Beth.
Now, it's still good to say those, though, because then I could say, who's going to be the one to take him out?
You or Sarah Beth.
Right.
It would be you. Alright, and then let's look at, Sarah Beth.
But then there could be the argument where it's like Derek X turned on his own teammates, so why wouldn't Derek X turn on Sarah Beth?
Why wouldn't Derek X turn on Sarah Beth? The reason Derek X wouldn't turn on Sarah Beth is because Derek X is in the back pocket of one of the strongest duo in the house right now. Who is that strongest duo?
So
the only duo in the house that has where each person has won a competition. Because think about it, people talk about you and Liz hasn't won shit.
Trio.
Yeah. People can maybe talk about Hannah and Baby D. Hannah hasn't won shit. If people wanted to say like me and Whitney didn't win shit. There's only one duo in this house where,
Trio.
with the exception of Tiffany and Claire, there's only one duo in this house that has where each member of that duo has won a competition. That's Kai and Sarah Beth. And if you add Derek X to that, they become the most dangerous trio in this house. Because Derek X has 3 competition wins, Kai has 1, SB has 1. If they're locked in together, which they all seem extremely close, there was a point where Derek X, Kai, and Sarah Beth had a meeting, just the 3 of them after this, so clearly it seems like they may be working together. Let's see, this is already going to start casting doubt on Sarah Beth and her potential with Derek X. If you want to take a shot at Derek X, you need to take a shot at the people who he's aligned with. Right now, it sounds like he's aligned with Sarah Beth. That's why I'm sitting on the block. If you take her out, he becomes weaker. So if we continue to take him out, then all we have to do is just put ourselves in a position where we can beat him in a competition.